Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, comedian, magician, Danny Whitson. But it's all tricks aside, because tonight we're turning the paranormal into the normal. Join me as we explore the gray areas of reality. We're going to talk all things paranormal, UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, and aliens, and see how it's all connected. This podcast is brought to you by the Experiencer Support Association, and we are live. So if you're an experiencer yourself, or you're just plain nosy, be sure to send me your question and subscribe to the podcast. Now, get ready, because it's going to get deep. No, really, we're going to go way out there, because this is Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. What's happening, my paranormal junkies? Welcome to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, and I'm your host, Danny Whitson. Guys, we got a fantastic show for you this evening, but first, we are broadcasting live from the E-United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 in New Orleans. All right, guys, not a whole lot of announcements to make up front here. It seems like, things are kind of happening in the UAP world a little bit slowly. We're waiting on some hearings, some things to pop up to hear some news. I hear there's a few more whistleblowers popping up. So as that happens, I'll kind of let you know, at least what I hear. If you guys have it, go over to Patreon, make a quick little donation at Heed the World on patreon.com. Give a little donation, something like that will get you access to some good articles. All right. Today's guest, he is a counselor with a background in education and addresses issues of meditation and spirituality. Let's get a warm welcome for Mr. Dick Larson. There we go. We got you right there. There we go, Dick. Sorry about that. I'm little slow on the finger controls there. There we go. We missed you, Chris. That's all I'm saying.
That's okay.
Yeah. How you doing, Dick? If you don't mind, I tell you what, would you care to let the viewers know a little more about yourself real quick?
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, my name is Dick Larson. I live in Southern California, and I am a volunteer for an international nonprofit organization called SHARE, S-H-A-R-E, International. And that's our website, www.share-international.org, all spelled out. And I've been doing this for about 30 years. And there are a few thousand of us around the world that are giving out the information that I'm going to be giving out to you. Not all of us do television and radio interviews, but I'm one of those who's lucky enough to be able to do that. So SHARE International was founded by a man named Benjamin Creme, spelled C-R-E-M-E. He lived in London. He passed away in his 90s a few years ago. But I knew and worked with Benjamin Creme for those 30 years. On and off as he would come to the U.S. and have events and so on. And I heard him lecture in Los Angeles. A friend told me to go check him out. And about 10% of what he said sunk in, and the rest just went right over my head. But what I heard made so much sense to me, I decided to start reading his books and read the magazine, SHARE International Magazine. It's a monthly magazine with no advertising, about what we're going to be talking about. His basic point was that about every 2,000 years or so, we get a great teacher sent to help humanity with its next big step forward in evolution. And we know some of those teachers as Confucius and Buddha. 2,000 years ago, it was both Buddha and Jesus, and Krishna and so on. And so now it's been 2,000 years. We're entering a new planetary age. the age of Aquarius, and it's time for the next teacher. That teacher is here now in a physical body, living in the outskirts of London. His personal name is Maitreya, which in Sanskrit means the happy one, the one who brings joy. Now he's waiting for the best time to come forward openly to humanity on connected satellite, radio and television to all of humanity. And then he'll travel the world. He comes as a teacher. He doesn't come to start a religion. He's not a religious figure at all. He comes as a teacher to help us figure out how to straighten out the mess we've made of this world. And so my job is to help people know what's going on, so when it happens, they won't be in the dark. They'll have an idea. Now, something that's very important here, Danny, and I always tell this to your listeners whenever I do a show, and that is, please, I ask two things of you. Number one, please don't believe anything I say, because that would be blind belief, and I can't recommend that to anybody. I'm not here to get people to change how they think or get here to convince people that what I say is true or any of that. I'm just here to give out my information, and people can take it for what it's worth. The second thing I ask is that they please keep an open mind, because you're the perfect show for this, Danny. I'm going to say some stuff people haven't heard before, including some stuff about UFOs they haven't heard before. And so I want them to just don't argue with it or against it in your mind. Just kind of let what I say sit in your lap like a brick and don't do anything with it for a while. And at the end, just kind of see if any of it makes sense to you. I think some of it will, or I wouldn't be wasting your time doing this, you know. So that's my story. I'm originally from Minnesota, and I grew up there, went to college there and so on. Came out here in the Air Force during the Vietnam War. And then when I got out, I thought, you know what? I love California so much. I'm not going back to that snowy Minnesota. So I've stayed here the whole time. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's interesting. So being from Minnesota, I mean, did you come from like an open-minded family, or was this something that you kind of learned whenever you moved to crazy California, as they call it?
No, I grew up in a very heavy Christian family. I was going to be a preacher when I grew up, and you know how life gets a hold of you and then things just slide by. So I never did. But no, it was after I left Minnesota and came to California, and I stayed with my religion for a long time, but it wasn't answering questions that I had. And I thought they were pretty reasonable questions. And then I heard about Benjamin Creme. I heard his information. I'd been studying some of the world's great religions before that. And I found that each one has its own teachings and path, and they don't necessarily disagree completely with each other. So I think there are many paths to spiritual growth, and I don't think religion is the only one. And this idea that Benjamin Creme talked about is an ancient philosophy called the Ageless Wisdom Teachings. This philosophy is as old as humanity. It's been passed down orally, verbally over the eons. And now the latest two teachers are a woman named Alice A. Bailey, who wrote about 20 books in the 1930s and 40s. Very interesting, but kind of hard to read. And then Benjamin Creme, who's got about, I think, 17 books on Amazon. I'm not here to sell books, but he has about 17 books on Amazon if you're curious and you want to read more, or you could subscribe to Share International magazine. So I got involved in that, and I found out that the Ageless Wisdom answers some of these questions that I've had my whole life, and it made sense to me. So, and the longer I study it, the more sense it makes to me. So that's what I kind of share with people, is the coming world teacher, whose name is Maitreya, and he doesn't come alone. He comes with other senior members of the spiritual kingdom, and they're going to come as teachers, and they're going to teach us how to live more properly, more rightly, more justly. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, before we get in, because I definitely want to hear about this. We do have our first question real quick here, Dick, and
Good.
I want to from Jillian Leonard. She's a very own part of Tessa. Can you ask him about the picture in the frame behind him? It is interesting. Thanks. And I'm assuming that That is, what's the picture there about there?
Thank you. That's a good question, Jillian, probably, or Gillian.
Jillian.
Gillian. Okay. It's a painting by Benjamin Creme. Benjamin Creme was an artist. That was his primary mission in life, was to be an artist, and he was a great artist. There's a museum dedicated to him here in Los Angeles. This is a lithograph. A lithograph is a copy of a painting that is signed by the artist, so there's real value to it. This is a lithograph by him called Meditation. And you can see the chakras that we want to involve in meditation are from the heart chakra up. So you can see the heart chakra. It's that real pinkish rose colored in the middle. And then the throat chakra, you can see the energy goes up the throat. And then the Ajna center is right in the middle of that triangle in the middle there. The Ajna center is right between the eyebrows at the bridge of the nose, above the bridge of the nose, AJNA. That's the Ajna center chakra. And then the crown chakra is at the top of the head where that triangle comes to a point at the top. Those are the four chakras we involve in meditation: heart, throat, Ajna, and crown. Now, if you say or think Om, O-M, the O activates the heart chakra and the throat chakra. And if you go like that, you'll feel your head buzz. That's because the M activates the Ajna center and the crown chakra. And those are the chakras we use in meditation. The primary focus for meditation is the Ajna center. It's the traffic cop of the chakras, and it knows where to send the energy, which chakras need it, and so on. But that's what that is. It's a painting called Meditation by Benjamin Creme.
All right. Interesting. Great question, Jillian. Great question. Yeah. We've got another question here by one of our favorite viewers also here, Miss Liv Light. Let's see. She always makes me pronounce hard to say words here. The Maitreya has been called the Cosmic Christ. Does this mean the age of Aquarius will be Christian-based, or will it be religions be discarded as the world moves from me to we global corporation?
Whoa, what a great question.
I'm telling you, she's the go to questions. She is the go when it comes to questions.
Maitreya may have been called the Cosmic Christ, but he's not. He's the planetary Christ. He is the Christ for our planet, Earth. And I'll explain why Jesus isn't in a minute. But he is the planetary Christ. The cosmic Christ, there is a cosmic Christ, and the cosmic Christ is Sai Baba. Sai Baba is the cosmic Christ. We were very lucky to have two Christs on this planet at the same time. The cosmic Christ, Sai Baba, and the planetary Christ, Maitreya. I mean, what a huge blessing. Anyway, now about religion. He doesn't come to start a religion. We'll probably form some kind of religion out of him, but that's not, that happens to every teacher that comes. But that's not why he's here. He's here with very, very simple, straightforward purposes. And as far as religion goes in the future, religions each have their own path to consciousness expansion up to a point. And they will be around for at least another 250 years. As a matter of fact, the Masters of Wisdom are the senior members of our spiritual kingdom. There are 63 of them. They're people we know as Buddha, Krishna, Confucius, the St. Paul, St. John, Paul, John, Ringo. No, not Ringo. I'm kidding. Mary, the mother of Jesus, will be the first female master to come to the planet and walk on the planet with us, teaching us, and that'll be in about 250 years. In about the next several hundred years, religion will play a more important part in the world, especially Christianity, and I'll tell you why. The Bible is full of symbolism that we don't understand yet. And once the symbolism of the Bible is explained to us and shown to us, to those who are Christians, the Bible will take on a whole new and very special and very big meaning. It'll be really interesting for people to wake up to a lot of the symbolism that's in there. It's primarily a symbolic book. It wasn't written so much for the time it was written in, but for later, this century, the previous century, and so on. So religion will be around, but then eventually it will start to die out as people move on. And as people evolve, they become like me, and I'm not very evolved, but more and more curious about things that go beyond religion, that religion can't answer. So religion will be around for a while. Don't worry about it. If you're in a religion, here's what Maitreya says. He says, if you're in a religion and it's working for you, stick with it. I come for you. If you're not in a religion, I come for you too. I come for everybody. So he doesn't come, like I said, as a religious teacher. His priorities, his first 4 priorities are food for everyone, housing for everyone, education for everyone, and healthcare for everyone. 4 basic, that and ending pollution, saving the planet. Those are his first 5 priorities, real basic stuff.
So is Maitreya, and you said that he's here? He's here now?
He is here. Yeah.
United States or?
No, he lives in the outskirts of London. He's in a male body, about 6'3". And I'm told, I've never seen him in his body. But I'm told, my information is that his body is a combination of every race on this planet. And so he's like every man. Now, he made his own body up in the Himalayas. A lot of the masters are in the Himalayas. The rest are in the Gobi Desert. Now they're coming back to Earth as part of their evolution. They need to take bodies and come back and work with us. And so he made his own body. It's very special. It's never been done before. He made his own body. It took him years. And then he came down out of the Himalayas into Pakistan to kind of test drive his body because he embodies the love of God. That's the Christ energy, the love of God. He embodies that in him, and yet he can still shake your hand and not zap you to death. So he had to make sure it all worked right. The masters aren't used to living in noise pollution and air pollution, water pollution, all that stuff. So this will be a very, very kind of difficult experience for them, but they're ready for it. And the masters are perfected human beings. They've gone through evolution ahead of us, thousands of lifetimes, until they have learned all the lessons planet Earth has to teach. And then they become perfected human beings, and they become senior members of our spiritual kingdom.
So he wasn't born onto the planet. He was made. Is that what you're saying? He made himself? I'm trying to understand.
Originally, he was born just like you and I.
Okay.
Yep. And he went through all these lifetimes, which we're all going through. He went through all these lifetimes until he learned all the lessons planet Earth has to teach. And then he became a perfect human being. And he didn't need to take a body anymore because he'd learned all the lessons this planet could teach. So he became a permanent consciousness or spirit and became a member of our spiritual kingdom. And that's what happened with all the masters. That's what's going to happen with us. We're all on the way to becoming a master of the wisdom, permanent member of the spiritual kingdom. But we're all at different levels of evolution, That's what makes the world go around. We're not all the same. So yes, he started out as a human being just like the rest of us. He graduated. He and the Buddha were the first 2 to graduate from Earth humanity into the spiritual kingdom. They're brothers. They work together all the time.
Okay. So now, Dick, let me ask you, how do you know, because you haven't seen the guy, but how do you know he is here?
Well, there's 2 parts to that answer. Number 1, how do you know there's a God? Well, because you've experienced God working in your life. That's how you know. And you can't show it to anybody. You can't prove it to anybody. Can't take a picture of God working in your life, but you know something happened and it must have been God. Well, the same thing is true of Maitreya. Those of us who have experienced Maitreya working, well, actually all of us have, we're just not aware of it. Some of us, though, who knew about him because of Benjamin Creme, became aware of him working in our lives. I pray to Maitreya on a daily basis. I thank him for things, and I ask for things, especially for other people. And oh boy, I wish I could. Maitreya's hand, if you go to that website, www.share-international.org, you will, if you search around a little bit, it's a beautiful website full of great stuff. You will find a photo of Maitreya's handprint. He put his handprint on a woman's mirror in Spain. And she saw it and she thought the caretaker did it. She wiped it off. She came back later, it was back. She said, oh boy, this must be something special. So her son, who knew about Benjamin Creme, took a picture of it, sent it to Benjamin Creme. Now, here's the thing about Benjamin Creme that people find hard to believe, but I've actually seen it happening, and I have no doubt about it. Benjamin Creme was in contact 24 hours a day with one of the members of our spiritual kingdom, one of the masters of wisdom. And so he was able to ask questions of the master of wisdom, which is pretty cool. Well, he got the photograph. He asked his master what it was. Was it anything special? And his master said, yes, that is the handprint of Maitreya, the world teacher. He put it on that mirror from the back. If you look at it, it's a three-dimensional picture because the water drops on the mirror from cleaning it are in front of the hand. It's an amazing picture, a black and white photo. Anyway, he said, Maitreya says, if you look at this hand or put your hand on it for just a few seconds, either way, then you can ask Maitreya for anything you want or need for yourself or for others. If it's within karmic law, he will grant it to you. So his hand is used for prayer. And that's what I use it for. I look at it, I have it framed right up here on the wall. I look at it, and then I talk to Maitreya. So that's the first way I know Maitreya is there, as he's been active in my life. He's worked, he's answered very specific prayers. I've received some healings and so on. The second reason I am convinced Maitreya is real is Maitreya and some of the masters of wisdom that are here now. There are 14 on the planet right now. There's one out here in the San Bernardino Mountains. There's one in New York. There's one in London. That's Maitreya. There's one in Darjeeling. There's one in Tokyo. There's one in Moscow. There's one in Rome. There are 14 masters in the world right now, and some of them have been appearing to people for the last 30 years as an ordinary person. See, they're beyond planet Earth, so they control all the energies. They can make a body that looks like whatever they want.
Well, here, let's do this real quick because we got another question that's popped up here, Dick.
So I've seen Maitreya.
So all the ascended masters are interdimensional beings that we can channel or experience. Question from Live Light.
No, they're not interdimensional. I don't even know what that word means, but they're
just from another dimension, another base reality.
They're in the same reality we're in. They're just, see, the world is made up of physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. They're the spiritual part of it. It doesn't have anything to do with dimensions. They're just part of our spiritual universe. If you want to call it another dimension, you can, but they're just part of our spiritual universe. And so the thing is, I really don't want to go into the dimension thing much because we never get anywhere with that. but they exist. They're real. The spiritual kingdom is real. That's my information. And what was the second part of the question?
Oh, let's see. On the Ascended Masters, interdimensional beings that we can want to know if we can channel or experience.
Well, you can experience their energy. For example, I said that Maitreya has appeared to people in different guises. I was walking across the campus of California State University working on my master's degree, and these two boys were walking down the sidewalk towards me, college age, and right behind them, I looked up at the last minute, right between their shoulders, and behind them was this young lady, about 19 years old, shoulder-length brown hair, and she looked up at me and she smiled, and oh, my heart just jumped for joy. I mean, I had no reason to be that happy, but I was. I thought, God, I wish I could make people that happy just by smiling at them like she did with me. I mean, I felt like my feet were barely touching the ground as I walked to my car. Well, I wrote to Benjamin Creme through Share International Magazine, and I told him the experience and asked him if he would check with his master. So he did. He asked his master of wisdom who this girl was, and he published, if it's one of the masters, they publish your letter in the magazine. And he published my letter, and at the very end he said, Benjamin Creme's master confirms that the young woman was Maitreya. I felt the energy of love from her. I mean, it was just undeniable. It was incredible. I'd never felt anything like that before. So you can experience their energies in different ways. Joy. I had another.
So Maitreya, though, takes the form of other bodies and other identities.
Oh yeah, all the time. He can appear in 20 places at once, all different. One of the masters that's here now is in Rome. I said that earlier. That master is the Master Jesus. Jesus is here. He's back. He's in Rome. And as soon as Maitreya comes forward, then he will introduce Jesus on worldwide television. You'll see him standing side by side. Here's why Maitreya is the Christ and Jesus isn't. The age-old way of a master giving out his teachings to humanity is he will send one of his major disciples into the world who has agreed upon ahead of time to give out that master's teachings. Prince Gautama agreed to do that for the Buddha. And so at a certain age, the Buddha he overshadowed him. He put his consciousness in the Buddha's mind and body, and he gave out the Buddha's teaching through Prince Gautama. So Prince Gautama became known as Gautama Buddha. He wasn't the Buddha, but he was giving out the Buddha's teachings. The exact same thing happened with Jesus, who is now one of the great masters. Jesus was a major disciple of Maitreya. He agreed to come into the world and give out the teachings of the Christ. The Christ is a position in the spiritual kingdom with responsibilities. Not every planet has a Christ, but Maitreya is the Christ for this planet. Jesus was overshadowed. Sometimes it was just Jesus in his mind. Other times it was Jesus' consciousness and Maitreya's. And other times it was Jesus just stepped aside and let Maitreya take over his mind, which is a great sacrifice for Jesus to make, because he could have given out great teachings on his own. But he gave out the teachings of the Christ for 3 years, from the baptism to the crucifixion. So he became known as Jesus the Christ. He wasn't the Christ, but he gave out the Christ teachings.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dick. Let's do this. In the beginning of the show, you did mention a little bit, you're going to drop some news on us with the connection with UFOs with this. Yep. I tell you what, we're going to cut to this commercial break, give a shout out to our sponsors, and we'll be right back here, guys. Keep watching, back with Dick Larson.
Have you ever wondered, or maybe just thought to yourself, if there were others just like you? You know, people with extraordinary abilities, psychogenic advancement, and perhaps unique intuitions. Maybe you just wondered if there were other people who experienced unimaginable, unexplained, or even unusual and paranormal events. Are there people who have more questions, more fears than answers? Well, you're not alone. You've never been alone. We believe you. Sign up for EA today.
Business. It's your property. Your assets are worth protecting. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services specializes in patrolling and inspecting residential or commercial property against fire, theft, vandalism, terrorism, and illegal activity. People and buildings are monitored to prevent crime. Keep your property, your people, and your assets safe from threat. Our elite staff are dual licensed private investigators and security guards. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services. Go to blacklightiss.com.
All right, guys, if you're just now joining us, we have been talking with, spiritual counselor Dick Larson. Dick, before we got out of here, though, on the break, earlier in the show, you had mentioned about how this is connected to some UFOs. And that's something that we love talking about here on this podcast. So let's hear it. What do you got there? What's the connection here with the UFOs?
First thing I want to say, just to tag onto that last part about Jesus being here, is that every master has an area of responsibility that he will work with humanity. Jesus' job is to get the Christian church back on track. There'll be no more popes. He will be at the head of the Christian church for the next many hundred years. Maitreya will be here in his body, which can't be killed or destroyed in any way, for the next 2,000 years. He'll be at the center of humanity. So these guys are here to really help us turn things around. But we have to do the work because we made the mess. Now, UFOs.
Well, here, hold on. Let me do this real quick, because
okay.
I did not see this, and I would definitely want to be fair to all our viewers here. But we do have a question from Jay Danzig here,
okay,
which is it's a very fair question. Jay says, also, isn't this just a Christian viewpoint? We have multiple religions just on Earth, so why so sure in the single view?
Well, the Christ as a term is not a religious term. It's a position in the spiritual kingdom where that individual can embody the love of God in his heart and share it with humanity. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with religion, really. Now, yes, you're right. There are other major religions of the world. Here's the thing. Every major religion of the world is expecting their great teacher to come at about this time. Okay. Well, Maitreya, because of satellite communication and worldwide global communication now, he can come to respond to all of those expectations with one teacher for all the religions. He comes as the Buddha. He comes as the Christ. He comes as Confucius. He comes as the Messiah. He comes as the Imam Mahdi. He comes as the teacher expected by all the world's major religions, but he's not going to teach religion. He's going to teach us how to treat each other and how to turn this world around so that we live in peace and justice, and everybody has enough food, and everybody has housing, and everybody has health care. He can't do it. He can't wave a magic wand and make it okay because he didn't make the mess. We did.
I can. Magic wand, that's my business here, brother. There we go.
Thank you, Danny. It's not a religious thing at all, really.
Jay does have one more good question here, and sure. I think you kind of covered it here, but I want to pull this up here for Jay.
Go ahead.
Do you believe that Jesus and our version of religion? Well, here, no. Yeah. Our version of religion. Do you believe that Jesus and our version of religion, as we know it, is possible on other planets and civilizations?
I think it's possible. I think other planets and civilizations have their own spiritual educational programs. And whether they're called Christianity or whether they're called Buddhism, I don't know about that. They probably have their own teachers. But I would think that each planet has to begin spiritual teaching somewhere, and the place to do that is with religions. So does Jesus teach on other planets? No. My information is no. He's a human, just like Maitreya is a human. Just like the Buddha is a human. They came from planet Earth. So this is their background.
This is, and I definitely want to get into the UFOs and the connection. Yep. I want to get to that here very soon, but this is a question that I have.
Okay.
This is the world we live in. Absolutely the world we live in. Now, Maitreya, am I saying it right? Maitreya?
Yep.
Okay. Now, have you heard any people religions have this thing where they don't get along, Dick, in this world.
Yeah,
religions, I don't know why, but they seem to hate each other's guts. So any of this reaction, do you think maybe people may think, what if this Maitreya is the Antichrist and here to deceive us?
I expect it. Yeah. We all expect it. Benjamin Creme said there'll be basically 3 reactions when he first comes forward. The first one will be, this guy makes sense. I think I want to try some of the stuff he's suggesting. The second reaction will be, whoa, I don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. I'm going to wait and see. The third reaction will be, look out, Antichrist, he's evil. He's going to kill us all, ruin the world. Those will be the 3 reactions. Now, Benjamin Creme's response to that is, the tree is known by its fruit. When people observe him, what he says happens. What he says will work actually works. He doesn't do anything to hurt people. He just helps and loves people. He tries to help people get together, including the religions will get together sooner or later. That will happen. See, here's the difference. Pisces is the age we've been in for the last 2,000 years. Every 2,000 years or so, our planet comes into alignment with one of the 12 great constellations that are around us. When we come into alignment with that constellation, it pours its energy into the planet to help it evolve. For the last 2,000 years, we have been in alignment with, and then we say in the age of Pisces. Jesus was the teacher who came to inaugurate the age of Pisces. Symbol for Pisces is the fish. He said, I'll make you fishers of men. He fed the crowd with fish. There's all these fish analogies. It's no accident. There's two symbols for Christianity, the cross and the fish. Most don't know why the fish. It's because he was the teacher who came to inaugurate the age of Pisces. The two primary energies of Pisces that we have been receiving are individuality and dedication to an ideal. Individuality, man has come out of the herd. We stand up for ourselves now. Dedication to an ideal, the ideal of freedom, saved the world in World War II. So Pisces has done its job. Now we're moving out of the influence of Pisces and into alignment with Aquarius. Aquarian energies are very different. Aquarian, the two primary energies of Aquarius are synthesis and cooperation. So the idea of Aquarius helping us evolve is this. Aquarian energies are going to take this powerful individuals built under Pisces and have them work together cooperatively to make a better world. That's the purpose of the Aquarian energy. And that's what's going to happen with the religions too. They're all going to see that they all kind of make sense in one way or another, and they're going to start to get along. Now, there'll be a master teaching in each major religion. There'll be a master in education. There'll be a master in healthcare. There'll be a master in government. Governments are going to change too.
Oh, so, wow. Master and governments are going to get this. I don't know. Well, I kind of look at I kind of look at the same. I kind of look at their fruits, one's an orange and one's a vegetable. So it's just kind of, that's American politics.
I know. So this separation is no accident. It's been caused by cosmic forces. And now it's time to bring them together so they can work together. Now it'll be a slow process, but the masters are here to help that happen. So that's my answer to your question.
Well, let's do this. Let's get into, like I said, it's been very interesting. I've learned a lot.
Well, thank you for letting me talk about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But let's hear, what is the connector here? What is the connector here with the UFOs?
Yeah. Well, Benjamin Krem is my source for this information. He worked with the Space Brothers and Sisters. We call them Space Brothers and Sisters. I don't call them aliens because that's a horrible name made up by Western governments to get us to be afraid of them and not like them.
I always think grays. I hate it when people use the word grays. That feels racist. But anyways, go ahead.
I know. They're just people.
I feel like one day we're going to be judged for that. They're going to be like, I can't believe you guys said that. But anyways, go ahead.
They're people like us, and they're living souls like us. And they just look different in some ways, but they're people. And here's the deal. This is going to blow people's mind. They don't come from the Pleiades. They don't come from Sirius. They come from other planets in our solar system. How can that be? We land a camera on Mars and it looks around. There's nothing there. There's 8 billion people on Mars. Now, because Mars is smaller than Earth, those people are shorter. They're like 4'8", 4'10", 5 feet tall, is my information. But here's the trick about the Space Brothers and Sisters. Earth is just the right distance from the sun that we can have three aspects of life. We can have solid physical, we can have liquid, and we can have gas. Our human bodies are made up of physical, liquid, and gas. And we don't burn up and we don't freeze. Why? Because we're just the right distance from the sun. All the other planets are either too far from the sun, where life like ours in physical life would freeze to death, or too close, where life like ours, physical life, would burn up. So here's what our scientists don't know yet. What our scientists don't know is that there's another level of physical life above gas. Now, gas is very fine. You can't see it like oxygen. You can't see it, can't feel it, can't taste it, but it's there. We know we've proven it's there. Well, the same thing is true of the next level of physical life above gas, and that's called etheric. Like ether is a very fine, high vibrating gas. It's called etheric physical. And etheric physical is what the people on the other planets are made of. Now, here's the thing. They have etheric vision. So they see each other just like you and I see each other. Now, there are some people on Earth who have etheric vision. I'll give you an example. The beginning of etheric vision is people who can see auras. I have a friend who can see the aura around leaves on trees. He's got the beginnings of etheric vision. I'm told that eventually we'll all have etheric vision and we'll see these people all the time. Now, here's what they can do though. So they're in these etheric bodies. They can't burn, they can't freeze. They live their life. But what they can do, and their spacecraft are made of the same thing, etheric physical, can't see them. They can temporarily lower the vibration of their body to become solid physical bodies. And that's what they do when they want us to see them. The same with their spacecraft. They lower the vibration of their spacecraft and poof, we can see the spacecraft. And then all of a sudden when they want to disappear, they can either just fly off so fast or they just raise the vibration of their craft and poof, they disappear. That's what we don't know about the space brothers and sisters and their spacecraft, is that they're etheric, physical, and we only see them when they want us to. And so now they have been coming forward the last 20 years, especially more and more openly to let us know they're real. They're there. That's what the sacrifice was in New Mexico.
Talking about the Roswell?
Yeah, Roswell. That was Benjamin Crumb said that was a spacecraft from Mars, and it had 3 people in it, and they purposely lowered their vibration to become solid physical beings and solid physical spacecraft, and they crashed it and died on purpose. They made this tremendous sacrifice just to let us know they're here. They're real. So what do? Our government covers it up. What a waste of time, you know? They wasted those deaths. Those autopsies on YouTube are real. Those are real before the bodies disappeared back to the etheric and before the spacecraft disappeared back to the etheric. But that's what happened in Roswell. They were trying to let us know they're here. Well, now they're coming forward more and more and more. Now they're here at the request of our spiritual kingdom. Most of them come from this makes sense. Most of them come from the planets on either side of us, our 2 closest planets, Mars and Venus. Now Mars is interesting. Mars is a manufacturing planet. They love to build things. So other planets send their specifications to Mars to have their spacecraft built. Mars builds them, then they go pick them up. So Mars has built most of the spacecraft in our solar system.
This is a good question here from Jay, and I think it's a valid question. Jay Danzig, he goes, "What is the name of Dick's source for this information?"
Yeah, the guy's name is Benjamin Crumb.
Benjamin Crumb.
Creme. It looks like cream, but it's not. It's Crumb.
Benjamin Crumb's the guy who painted the painting there back there on your wall. Is he?
He has a book out about the Space Brothers. I don't have it with me. It's called UFOs. I can get it. I'll get it. But go on Amazon, put in author Benjamin Crumb, and look at his books, and you'll see the one about UFOs. It's really fascinating.
Here, this I like. First of all, we got Dee Dee here from the very fantastic podcast show, The Dream Interpreter here. She's fantastic. She drops the Elon Musk question.
Yeah.
What about Elon Musk going to Mars? So if Elon shows up to Mars, is this going to screw things up, or are we going to make people mad?
No, and he's not going to be able to go to Mars yet, because once the masters come forward, they will teach us. See, like I said, and I'm still answering the question, these space people are here at the request of our spiritual kingdom because we are holding up the evolution of the solar system. Every system has a plan. Every planet, there's a plan for every planet. There's a plan for the solar system. Well, because we can't stop war and we can't stop starvation and we can't stop killing the planet with pollution, our planet, we are holding up the evolution of the rest of the solar system. So our spiritual kingdom has asked other planets, spiritual kingdoms, to have them send spacecraft to us to help keep the planet alive until we wake up. Now they have 4 parts to their mission. The first part is pollution. They have huge spacecraft, huge. Can't even imagine how big they are. That are up there. Now they're etheric physical, right? So you can't see them, but they're in the air, they're in the ground, and they're in the oceans. And all they do with their crews on board, all they do is mop up pollution 24 hours a day to keep this planet alive until we wake up and clean it up. But they're keeping the planet alive. We owe them a great karmic debt. And just imagine, these crews are on these ships for months at a time. They're not with their families. They're making a great sacrifice to help us keep this planet alive. So that's the first one, pollution. By the way, the worst pollution is nuclear pollution. And I'll tell you why. Our instruments are too crude to measure etheric energy. But the most dangerous part of the nuclear pollution is etheric. It's leaking out of all the plants everywhere and going into the atmosphere, into the water, into the ground.
That's a theory that that's I've heard that a lot with with this topic. Now you said there's 3 others though.
There are.
Okay, because we're running close on time here, Dick.
I know. But the nuclear pollution is causing 2 things. Higher and higher incidence of autistic children being born. Used to be 1 in 800, now it's 1 in 80. And a higher and higher incidence of Alzheimer's and senility. It's all nuclear pollution. We got to shut those things down right away. Now, the second part of their mission is the crop circles. The corn circles, they're called in England. They make these crop circles to let us know they're here. Some people have seen the light come out of the bottom of the ships to make the circles. Here's what they do. Their ships don't push levers and push buttons and pull levers to make them fly. Their engines are so sophisticated, they are directed by thought. The space people think of where they want to go and how fast they want to get there, and their spacecraft takes off. Well, they do the same thing with the crop circles. They think up the pattern they want to make. They lower their craft over the crop field, and they can do it in solid physical or etheric physical. And within about 15 seconds, they make these huge, beautiful crop circles really, really fast, and then they're gone. That's a mess. That's their way of saying it very gently, very beautifully, we are here. That's the second thing. It's a calling card. The crop circles are calling cards that they're here, that they're real. The third thing they're doing, they have been asked to make 4 huge spacecraft, about 4 football fields big, each one. And each one was made on a different planet, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, and Venus, I think. And these 4 spacecraft are placed one north, south, east, and west around the globe, so that wherever you are on the planet, you can see one of them. And here's what they do. They flash, they twinkle like a star. They look like a star, except if you look real close, you'll see that they flash colors. Well, stars don't do that. They get their energy from the sun. They charge their batteries. Then they come close to the planet. So wherever you are, you can see one of the stars. Well, the star is there to announce the imminent arrival of the teacher for the age of Aquarius, Maitreya. Just like there was a star 2,000 years ago, the Star of Bethlehem, that announced the imminent arrival of the teacher for Pisces, Jesus. That was not a star. That was a UFO.
All right, Dick. Well, let's do this real quick. Unfortunately, we're going to have to rev things up here real quick before we get out of here, Dick. Where can the viewers learn more about you? Any information, anything they can learn about you?
Website www.share SHARE that's a dash international all spelled out .org, not .com, .org. share-international.org. The 4th part of their plan of their mission is to be part of the forces of light to help us evolve. And they're going to teach us things like space travel, how to get to Mars without spending years doing it. They're going to teach us this. They're going to teach us how to have power, electrical power on this planet without any burning up any coal, any oil, any of that stuff. They've got so much to teach us, but they're not going to do it until the masters come forward. It's not their planet. So the masters will come forward first, and then the Space Brothers will land. They will meet with our scientists. They will teach us these wonderful things. They love us. They're here to help us.
Awesome.
Amen.
Well, I tell you what, Dick, this has been a blast, man. We've learned a lot. Definitely check out the website here, Dick. If you guys need to go back, you could, rewind, check us out. But Dick, hey, thank you so much for coming on Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, man. This has been great.
Danny, you got a lot of guts having me on to tell all this weird stuff. So I really appreciate the opportunity. Thanks, Danny.
All right. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you so much for the great questions tonight. Jay and Liv and Dee Dee and Lisa, all you guys, thank you so much for the great questions. This has been a very fun, interesting episode. If you guys have not done so, be sure to go out, like, subscribe to the podcast. Let your friends know wherever they listen to the podcast. We're everywhere, streaming everywhere. If you have not, head over to Patreon, Heed the World, make a small little donation. That'll get you access to some really cool articles. Show you boys some love on social media, Danny Whitson Magic and Comedy on Facebook and at Super Magic Boy on Instagram. I love to see you guys. I post, where I'm going to be if you'd like to catch out one of my shows. And like always, I got to say this, like always, we are broadcasting live from the E-United Public Radio Network and the UFO Public Radio Network on 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. All right. I'm ready. It's been a interesting show. Definitely been interesting. A lot of information. And I learned some stuff that I didn't know. Maybe I can go check out. I don't know. Dick is, though, a very interesting guy with some, very interesting stuff. So we can maybe learn more about it if you want to. But definitely, guys, get back over here next week. We've got another guest, very interesting. I do not have his name because my right-hand man's not here tonight, Chris. But Chris will be back next week to help me, so it'll make things a little more smoother. But anyways, like always, guys, keep the normal paranormal, or is it the paranormal normal? I can't remember. But I'll see y'all next week.